you guys? Welcome back to As Told by Kenya. Now, I have to be honest with you guys. I wasn't going to come and talk about this season of Potomac because I don't really plan on watching this season of Potomac. I'm going to step in and step out. If there's some episodes that seem up my alley, I will see what they got going on. But altogether, I wasn't going to come and talk about Potomac. But imagine my surprise when I woke up and Wendy Osefo and her husband was down at the clinkety clink. So I said, I have to come and talk about this with you guys because we have talked about Potomac so much on this channel. It would be improper of me not to come and discuss Wendy getting arrested. But first, today's video is sponsored by Growth Therapy because clearly everybody needs a little bit of therapy. Growth Therapy believes that mental health care should be human. That means that they believe mental health care should be accessible and affordable and work for you. So when you go over to Growth Therapy, they have plenty of options of therapists for you. What I love about Growth Therapy is that you can start with one provider, and if it doesn't work for you, you don't like your experience, you can change to another one. Growth Therapy has over 19,000 providers, so there is sure to be one that fits with you. Something that people don't really talk about when it comes to mental health and getting help for your mental health is accessibility, not knowing where to start, not knowing where to go, and Growth Therapy is really good for that. They make things very simple for you so you don't feel like you just are out of your mind and don't know where to start. Growth Therapy is going to help you out. With Growth Therapy, you can book in as little as 2 days with appointments available on nights and weekends. No long wait list needed. When it comes to therapy, everybody has different schedules. Everybody does different things for work, so they are flexible and can fit with you. The good thing about Growth Therapy is that they are all about choice. You go over to Growth Therapy and you can pick your therapist and make sure it works for you. It's not about matching, it's about making a decision that is good for you because mental health is so important, and that's why I love partnering with Growth Therapy because I believe you need to be on top of your mental health, but I also understand people are busy and they have a lot of stuff that they are trying to do, and like I said, it can all be confusing. Providers, health insurance, therapists, it can be a lot, and Growth Therapy is here to help you. So if you would like to try Growth Therapy, there's a link down in the description, also a pinned comment, or you can just use the QR code, which is right here on the screen. Get therapy that is about you and about your choices and you making decisions for yourself, getting on top of your mental health. Growth Therapy, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video, and let's get on into it. I woke up in the morning and I was like, let me check my stories. Let me check what's going on. So I immediately went down to Instagram because that is the first thing that I check. I'm like, what's going on Instagram? And so I go on my For You page of Instagram and I just see a mugshot of two people who vaguely look familiar to me. I'm like, something looks interesting about those people, but it's just a small little square on Instagram, so I can't really see them, and I'm just like, these people look interesting. So I click on it and I still am just like, who is these people? And then it just hits me, I'm like, that's Wendy. I look at the photo and I'm just like, that is Wendy. Then I look and I see that is Eddie, and I still haven't read the description, so I'm thinking domestic dispute. I'm like, did these people get in a domestic dispute? Was it a DUI? Literally those are the two things that go to my head, domestic dispute or DUI. I did not think it could be anything else other than that. So I quickly, now mind you, all this stuff happens in a matter of minutes. This is not a long train of thought. I go to the For You page, I see two people who look vaguely familiar, and I click on it. I'm like, ooh, is that Eddie and Wendy? And then I'm like, DUI, domestic dispute. I go down and baby, it says fraud. It says fraud, and you guys, I could have fell out my bed. I could have fell out my bed when I saw 16 fraud charges put on Wendy and Eddie's head. I said, there ain't no motherfucking way. There is not no way that Wendy and Eddie have got caught up in fraud. But boy, have they been caught up in fraud. So baby, the other day, they came by Wendy's house and they picked up Wendy in the dead of night from Finksburg. I did not know Wendy lived so far from fucking Potomac. So at this point, who lives in Potomac? Every time these girls getting picked up, they nowhere near Potomac. Why the hell does Wendy and Eddie damn near live in Pennsylvania? Can somebody explain that to me? Why they are way far from Potomac? It shouldn't even be called Real Housewives of Potomac anymore. Sharice was right. Sharice is the grand dame of Potomac because she the only one who lived damn near. She the only one who lived damn near. So they done picked her up and took her down to the Finksburg police station because she done been caught up in insurance fraud. So let's start and get into the charges. So April 2024, Wendy and Eddie reported that their home had been burglarized while they were on vacation. They came home and over $200,000 worth of stuff had been taken from their home, especially their bedroom. They said that their bedroom had been ransacked. Now, of course, if someone breaks into your home and they take stuff from you, you are going to file an insurance claim. It is the reason why we all have insurance on our homes for things like that. And so I remember when this story came out because this was actually around the time where a lot of people's homes were being broken into. A lot of people out in California and Atlanta and clearly in Potomac, Finksburg, their home were getting broken into. So Wendy kind of became a part of this whole big thing where people's homes were being broken into, and she was just one of many celebrity adjacent people whose homes are being broken into, and none of us really looked into it. Now here is the thing. I don't know if it's because I live in Atlanta and like everybody is looking for a scam. I am always a little beside myself when people say that their home has been broken into and all of these luxurious, amazing things have been taken from them and like they was on vacation and somebody just ran through their house, because this is a very easy scam to run and a lot of people run this scam, and it's just not like, why your house got broken into? Why your house got broken into when you happen to be on vacation? Number one, it's like 2025, 2024, then people just don't be running into people's house, especially because all you guys be talking about how much security y'all got, everybody got a gun, and it's just like, I'm supposed to believe like the best criminals in the world got past your security system and they knew you wasn't gonna be home so you couldn't shoot them in the ass and they just ran through your house. I am always skeptical of home invasions. When no one's gotten harmed, nobody was home, it always looks like insurance fraud to me. But like I told you, this happened around the time where a lot of stuff was happening. And you got to keep in mind, this actually has gotten brought up on Married to Medicine with Toya. So that's another thing that has always brought this to my eye. Not saying that Toya did it. I'm just saying that like people have always said when people be claiming somebody broke into their house and then they file insurance claim, like there's some fraud likely. I put everything under fraud likely. But I did not think that was something that was going on with Wendy, because I'm just like, if she say so, like I have no reason to believe that Wendy will be out here lying like that, even though I'm always skeptical of everybody on the home invasion tip because it's just like such an easy scam to run. So baby, she puts in her insurance claim and like her insurance maximum is $450,000, and that's what she got picked up on, 16 charges of fraud, because they found that Wendy and Eddie had purchased things, allegedly, and the things that they purchased, they returned and got the money back for it, but also said that that was the stuff that was stolen, as well as Eddie was seen on email saying could they add more things to the total to make their policy maximum. And also, Wendy was seen wearing some of the things that she claimed was stolen. And all of those things come together to put up with fraud, because number one, you have the things that you said that were stolen were not actually stolen. Then you have misleading law enforcement. You have was your home actually broken into? All of this stuff comes together, and they done put 16 fraud charges on their head, 7 felonies on their head, and that's just crazy to me. First, we got to talk about the mugshots. We always have to come and discuss the mugshots. A fucking mess. A fucking mess. It is one thing to get picked up. It is one thing to get picked up. It's another thing to look a mess in your mugshots. Wendy and Eddie look a fucking mess in their mugshot. Eddie looks high out of his mind, and Wendy put that wig on her head blindfolded. Like, I don't know what is going on here, but they both look horrible in their mugshots, and that's just not how you want to go out. If they gonna come pick you up and you know you gonna be the talk of Finksburg tomorrow, at least get a girl something. Get a girl something to talk about. So the mugshots already is just like bad. It's just really, really bad. The next thing I want to come and discuss is like, I don't want nobody to come pick me up on fraud. I am on the up and up. I am not trying to evade the government. I am not trying to scam nobody. I'm trying to live like an upstanding citizen. But if they gonna come get me for fraud, they gonna come get me living like Jen Shaw in the Chrisleys. I think if you gonna put 16 fraud charges on my head with 7 felonies, I'ma give you something to put in the books. You not gonna get me on insurance fraud. Insurance fraud is so lowbrow fraud to me. Like, it was for $450,000. Like, that is not worth 7 felonies. $450,000 not worth 7 felonies. The way Jen Shaw was living, that's worth the felonies. The way the Chrisleys was living, that's worth the felonies. The way Wendy and Eddie living, it's not worth the felonies. $450,000 is not worth the felonies. If they gonna put you a lying, thieving, nefarious, scamming ass bitch, you gonna really give them something to say. Like, they already gonna talk. Give them something to talk about. This ain't even worth something to talk about. And that's the worst part of all of this. It's just like they got y'all on insurance fraud. They didn't even get you on, stealing people's credit card information, stealing from the elderly, all things that are horrible. Do not do any of those things. I'm not condoning any of those things. But at least that's fraud. Like, ooh, baby, you was here for a good time, not a long time. At least all that stuff, you just like, when you look at Jen Shaw, you see that, oh, Jen Shaw was scamming. Jen Shaw was scamming. You can watch Salt Lake City if you don't know who Jen Shaw is. You can watch Salt Lake City and you like, baby, Jen Shaw was running it up. These bitches busy running their mouth. Like, Jen Shaw was living. The Chrisleys is another one. The Chrisleys was living. Wendy and Eddie needed $450,000. That brings me to the next thing that makes this bad. Insurance fraud seems so desperate. This seems like the crime of the regular degular person. $450,000 is a lot of money to me. I believe $450,000 is a lot of money to you. I believe $450,000 is a lot to my next door neighbor, my neighbor across the street. $450,000 is a lot of money to people who live regular degular lives. I don't feel like $450,000 should be a lot of money to Eddie and Wendy. And so therefore, it makes you wonder what's going on in the Osefo household to where you guys needed $450,000 so bad that you guys were willing to go to jail for $450,000. Because if you take the story as it is, it seems like this was a whole setup, right? Like, we're going to go to Jamaica, we're going to come back, and we're going to say that people stole things from us. But what makes it seem like a setup is they had purchased things to return it. So they purchased things to say that they were taken, and then they returned those things. So that it seems like this was a whole planned out, cooked up type of thing. And so then you report it to the police. You have a maximum of $450,000 on your policy, and you're trying really hard to hit all of that stuff. It just seems really, it seems like a lot of work for $450,000. It'd be one thing if it's just like, yo, you want to pull insurance fraud? Like, let's do it. Or it'd be another thing if, like, y'all, they actually got robbed and then they was just trying to cook the numbers. They actually got robbed and they was just trying to cook the numbers. But like, that's not allegedly what they're saying happened. It makes it seem like the robbery didn't happen. Am I reading that correctly? It makes it seem like the robbery didn't actually happen. You purchased things just to say that they were in your home. Return those things because you needed your money back. And then you try to add things that you do own to the list to get the $450,000. That just stick to your day job. Stick to your day job because you guys aren't good at this criminal thing. That is too much work for $450,000. You guys could have just did this the regular way. Y'all could have did this the regular way and just did insurance fraud and just put some shit on the list and just been like, hopefully they give it to me. Hopefully they give it to me. And then another reason why this is like stick to your day job is like, you're not good at it. At least it took a minute for Jen Shaw to go down and the Chrisleys to go down. All it took was a year and a half for them to come to y'all door. Y'all aren't good at this. Insurance fraud, I am assuming, because Kenya's on the up and up, I'm assuming insurance fraud is one of those things where, like, you really got to dot your I's and cross your T's at all time because someone's going to look into you. I saw an interview where Wendy was talking about how no one in her neighborhood has ever gotten robbed. You don't think the insurance company is going to know that? You don't think the insurance company is going to look at the robbery rates in your community and see that you are the only home that has been broken into since this development has been in existence, and you have a $450,000 policy that you completely maxed out? You don't think they're going to think to themselves, that's a little bit sketchy? But the thing is, you expect the insurance company to think that things are a little bit sketchy. So what you're going to do is make everything seem believable. I'm not a criminal. I would never do this. IRS, federal government, FBI, I would never. But you would think you would go down to the Instagram and be like, hey, you guys, these are the things that were stolen from me. If you're in the Finksburg area and you see any of this stuff on the black market, please return it to me. Let me know. Do you guys know anybody who be stealing from people? Let me know. And then you supposed to have Pookie and Peanut come take all this stuff out your house and sell it on the black market. And sell it all on the black market. We're never supposed to see any of this stuff again. We're never supposed to see any of this stuff again. You get your policy maxed out, and that stuff is just good as gone. It's just good as fucking gone, and boom, there's nothing they can prove to you. Now, I, once again, would never tell any of you guys to do any of this stuff because it's not worth it. Going to jail is not worth it. This is nefarious activity, and it is not worth it. But if you're gonna do it, why not do it right? What do you mean you bought stuff and returned it back to Nordstrom? I don't know if it was Nordstrom, a Saks. What do you mean that is what you did? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you not get Pookie and Peanut to go sell the shit? Why would you go back and have receipts? Did they not know that they are going to be looking at them? I am sure there was a black truck parked down the road from their house just looking at them for a good week or two. Just a good week or two. And then all they had to do is, what I'm being told, is go down to Instagram and they see Wendy got the ring on she said was stolen? Is that what I'm hearing correctly? What? Why would you do that? And like I said, for $450,000, I am sure that Wendy and Eddie make more than $450,000 a year. So that brings to me, why are Wendy and Eddie having money issues? Here's the thing. Just because you do fraud does not mean you necessarily have money issues. I think everything that goes into this makes it seem like Wendy and Eddie have money issues. Number one, planning this elaborate scheme, taking the stuff back, the policy only being $450,000, and also the simple fact that Wendy and Eddie have kids. That's what makes all of this seem really, really desperate. Wendy and Eddie have their beautiful children. Why would you ever even think to put your beautiful children through any of this stuff over $450,000? It makes it seem like, no, y'all needed that. Y'all for real needed that. And so I am wondering what the hell Wendy and Eddie do so much that they need pocket money that bad that they can't get through like taking out a loan. Because it's just $450,000. I feel like they can't take a loan out on a house. They can't refinance to get $450,000. Why did they need that cash so damn bad? And so it makes it seem like Wendy and Eddie financially are not doing well. Of course, that's conjecture. I do not know, but this scheme just seems really bird brain and also really it has such a huge price if it doesn't go well. That's why I'm scared of going to jail. That's why I can never do something like this, because I would just be, I know, I wouldn't be out here like Eddie and Wendy. I would have crossed my T's and dot my I's so much it'd be silly, because I would be so scared to go to jail with young children at home. So the fact that they didn't even care enough to like cover their own ass, did you not think the insurance company was going to look into any of this? And so it's like, maybe they heard somebody else do this scheme, and so they thought this was just like really easy. And if I don't want to say they're broke, I could say that they just thought that this scheme would be a really easy scheme to do, and so they were just like, whatever, we saw somebody else do it, we can do it too. Why not? It's a free $450,000. Maybe, but you guys still have kids, and you're wearing the rings and you're returning the stuff. The criminal life not for y'all. The criminal life is not for y'all. So altogether, I just think this is so crazy. And you want to know what I think hurts the most if you're Wendy? Have you ever like done something bad and like everyone looks at you in shock because they don't expect that from you, and you then realize how good of a name you had, and it wasn't until you got caught up in some bullshit that you realized how much people respected you or how much people thought highly of you? I think that's what probably would hurt the most, except going to jail. With Wendy, is that I think through this, Wendy is seeing just how much people thought highly of her. And this is my relationship with Wendy. I already told you guys, I've never liked Wendy. When everything was going down with the Green-Eyed Bandits, I said that the Green-Eyed Bandits were the most annoying because they were making me side with Wendy. I have never liked Wendy because you guys have to understand, when Monique was on the show, she was my girl. And when Monique went upside Candace's head, it was for real Wendy who was talking all that shit. We expect the Green-Eyed Bandits to talk shit, but truthfully, it was Wendy talking more shit than Robin. Giselle always gonna be number one on the shit talking, but it was Wendy number two on the shit talking. So Wendy has always rubbed me the wrong way, and I've wanted Wendy off the show since season 1, not only because I don't feel like Wendy ever fit on Potomac, I still don't think Wendy has ever fit on Potomac. Now that she's not friends with Giselle, even more so, Wendy doesn't really fit. I haven't watched the new season, and it's not because I'm dark skinned. It's not because Candace fit on Potomac. Something about Wendy has never really jived with the girls the way that you expect her to jive with the girls. And so I've never really loved Wendy on this show, but Giselle and Robin were so awful to her, and Wendy got assaulted on the show and no one gave a damn, that like, and there's so many bigger fish to fry. Mia sucks, Ashley sucks, Robin sucks. There were so many people on the show that sucked that Wendy was such low-hanging fruit, like whatever. So therefore, Wendy, I never liked her, but I respected Wendy. And that's why when she was always in her bullshit with Giselle, I didn't like it because I'm like, why treat Wendy like this? And so I think Wendy is seeing that, like, we all had some respect. Even if you weren't a fan favorite, there was respect there. Like, okay, Wendy, I think you're a good person, and I don't think scamming insurance companies makes you not a good person, but this just seemed really beneath Wendy. And so when you do something that kind of disappoints people, you kind of feel like shit, like, oh, you guys thought way highly of, you guys had more respect for me than I think I had for myself. That's what I think this feels for Wendy. I had more respect for Wendy than I think Wendy has for herself. And that's what this crime feels like. It's so petty that it's just like, oh, Wendy, I can't put anything past you. That's what it feels like. And you don't want to feel that way. I never thought Wendy was a criminal. And I get it. Like I said, it's not nothing major. She didn't do nothing major. Nobody was harmed in any of this stuff except for kids. But like, you just don't think that Wendy would do something like that. And it's not because Wendy is uppity, or it's not because Wendy is full of herself, because I do think sometimes that type of stuff is a little coded. People don't like that Wendy thinks highly of herself, or when Giselle had Wendy fucked up, Wendy completely got rid of that relationship, and a lot of people think that she should have, rolled with Giselle more, or her going against Giselle, like who she thinks she is. A lot of that is like coded, but like, I did think Wendy was too good for this. I thought Wendy was too good for this. And to see that she's not, I guess there's this thing of like, ain't nobody too good for nothing. Like, this is what you out here doing, Wendy. And so it makes you wonder, like, what else Wendy and Eddie are cooking up behind the scenes. And I've also seen another sentiment where people have been like, see, this is why you don't let your wife rope you into stuff. This is not a Jen Shaw and her man type of thing. Eddie was in them emails. Eddie was in them emails talking about raise the price. Eddie was in on this just as much as anybody else. But you know where I feel a little bit vindicated? Do you want to know where I feel a little vindicated? I've been asking for 5 seasons, what the fuck is Wendy's job? I've been asking for 5 seasons, what the fuck is Wendy's job? And everybody always come in the comments, she's a political commentator, she's a professor, she's doing this, she's doing that. And I said, why do we see Wendy every season with a new get rich quick scheme? I've said, this is not me Monday morning quarterbacking. I have said it in my Potomac reviews. Wendy is always coming on every season with a new get rich quick scheme. But that did not ever make me think Wendy was broke. That actually made me believe Wendy had money, because I was like, oh, Wendy has enough capital where she can just go where the wind blows. Like every season she can do something else and that's gonna lose her some money. I just thought that she had, I never thought Wendy was broke. And maybe she's not, but also maybe she is. And so everybody told me Wendy was doing good. Wendy quit her job down at Johns Hopkins, but I was always wondering, as a tenured professor, why was she never down at Johns Hopkins? Of course the camera's not gonna follow her into the classroom, but I was just like, Wendy is never talking about being a professor. She is never doing anything that has anything to do with being a professor. How is she keeping this tenured job at Johns Hopkins? I know when you're a tenured professor, there's a lot of flexibility and you get to do what the hell you want, but there are minimums. There are minimums amount of work you have to do to keep your tenured position, and I didn't feel like she was doing them. So when she came on that season and she quit her job, I was just like, yeah, I think it's about time you do that. And then we have seen Wendy through two presidential elections. I ain't seen her down on MSNBC or CNN. Everybody told me she did political commentary. I personally never saw her on nary a show. And we've been through two presidential elections with Wendy. What job do she do? So when I put all of that together, it does seem like, I could see Wendy and Eddie not having money. And then Eddie is on his stuff doing his new little weed stuff, which I'm blaming the weed, by the way. I think we need to be more cautious when it comes to the way that weed is affecting y'all's brain. And this was proof more than anything, because this scheme was stupid. This scheme was stupid. And maybe if they wasn't on that dope, they would have realized this scheme was stupid. But then Eddie is a tax attorney, and Mia said it the most. Like, for a tax attorney, he sure don't be at work. But that's easy to say when we only get a glimpse of Eddie every season. But like, no, you don't hear Eddie talking about that. But what makes this all sad, and I know I'm having fun with this, but I'm not relishing in their demise. I hope Wendy and Eddie make it out of this seemingly unscathed. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. If not for them, for their kids. I don't want their kids to have to be away from their parents. I hope they can reach a plea deal, and I hope it's a little probation, a little restitution. I do not want Eddie and Wendy to go to jail. I don't think Eddie and Wendy should go to jail. But if I'm not the judge, I'm not the law, I can't decide that. But in all, I really do hope that, like, they know that, like, we're having fun with this, but I don't think any of us want anything necessarily negative to happen to them. And that's why I kind of had a distaste of Ashley Darby kind of making a joke about all of this, because, like, we can joke and, like, we can talk shit. Ashley and Wendy have gone at each other for the past couple of seasons, but, like, you know this person and you've seen this person's kids. And so it's just like, to do the jokes and the dude, like, you know this person. I don't even know Wendy, and I'm just like, this sucks. You know Wendy, Ashley, and for a couple of laughs down at your stupid shows, you're going to like sell her out. Like, it shouldn't be that deep. Wendy has not actually ever done anything to you, and you've never actually really done anything to Wendy. So therefore, it should just be a place of like, I think all of you guys need to come together and kind of like be like, Wendy, are you good? Are your kids good? Because it's just insurance fraud. It's just, she didn't hurt nobody. If they can all see Karen through her bullshit where she could have killed somebody, y'all can see Wendy through this, because like, everything bad you want to happen to Wendy has happened. Like the crown, she ain't never had a crown on her head as far as I'm concerned. But like, her own crown that she put on her own head is off, girl. Like, everything, she's been exposed. Like, the emperor has no clothes. Like, things aren't going good in her household. And so like, you all need to come together and kind of back her up a little bit. But I hope Wendy stays on the show. Lord knows her bank account needs it. Wendy should stay on the show and just take the heat. Let them bitches talk. They was gonna talk anyways. They talk about Wendy. Wendy, last reunion was the only time Wendy wasn't in no shit, but she also didn't do anything last season anyway, which I said, Wendy, they gonna talk about you regardless. And look, Ashley got one foot on the show, one foot off the show anyway. That's what's crazy. That's what's keeping Ashley on the show. Everybody constantly getting fucking arrested is the only thing keeping Ashley on the show, because people want Ashley's commentary on like when Karen come back to the show and now Wendy roped up. Y'all going to jail is keeping Ashley with a fucking flute. I want Ashley off that show so motherfucking bad. Anyways, Wendy, I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope everything gets turned. And let's be upstanding citizens. Let's be upstanding citizens. If not for you, for the kids. Eddie, get a job. I'm gonna need Eddie to get a job. Because this ain't it. Anyways, I will talk to you guys in the next one.